The Marvel Cinematic Universe is one of the most expansive and successful film models ever, and it seems like pretty much every actor in Hollywood wants to get a piece of the cake. A part in a Marvel movie can jumpstart or revive an actor's career, but the studio will not hesitate to get rid of dead weight or actors who don't see eye to eye with them, and in today's video, we are counting down 10 Marvel stars that were fired from the MCU for obvious reasons.
I'm sorry. I think I might have made a bad decision. I'm scared I made a mistake.
I know it's gonna be tough for you to let go.
Catherine Langford was supposed to appear in the record-breaking film Avengers Endgame, but despite being announced as part of the cast, fans searched for her appearance in vain. Directors Joe and Anthony Russo then confirmed that Langford had indeed filmed a scene for the movie where she played an older version of Tony Stark's daughter Morgan, but that it had been cut. They revealed that the idea was that Tony goes into the metaphysical way station that Thanos went into when he snapped his fingers, and that Stark would find a future version of his daughter there. The grown-up Morgan was supposed to tell her father that she forgave him and let him die in peace, but when the scene was shown to test audiences, it turned out to be really confusing, and since the adult version of Morgan didn't really resonate with the audience, the Russo brothers decided to get rid of the scene, thus removing Catherine Langford from the MCU. Thanos is probably one of the most well-known characters in the MCU, but what many people don't know is that despite the entire MCU being planned out from start to finish, Thanos wasn't properly cast until Guardians of the Galaxy was filmed. However, to everyone's surprise, the character already briefly appeared in the post-credits of the Avengers. The part wasn't a speaking role, and it was actually stuntman Damian Porter who stood in for the role of Thanos for this brief cameo before the part was recast with a professional actor when it came to actually bringing the character to life. That's when Marvel Studios hired Josh Brolin, who has played Thanos ever since. Lou Ferrigno is best known for playing the Hulk once Bruce Banner transformed in the 1970s TV series The Incredible Hulk, and he vocally reprised the role in subsequent animated and computer-generated incarnations. Ferrigno was part of the MCU from the first Avenger until Age of Ultron, voicing the Green Giant while Mark Ruffalo played the part. However, for Thor Ragnarok, Ruffalo took over the voice portion of his transformed Bruce Banner as well, and Ferrigno and Marvel Studios parted ways. Vin Diesel is best known as Groot, as he is the one lending his voice to the beloved tree in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. However, the visions of Groot have been played by different actors, with Christian Goldeski being the body double during the first movie, helping the other actors envision the character and play off of him before the CGI team created the actual Groot during the post-production. In the second Guardians of the Galaxy film, Groot was only a little sapling and was solely created through CGI without any actor actually playing the part. So Goldowski didn't appear in this one, and since Groot was a teenager in Infinity War, he didn't get to revive his role for that one either, as Marvel recast the role and hired Terry Notary to be the motion capture actor. So, technically Goldowski wasn't fired, but his character simply shrunk in height from an adult into a teenager, making a recast inevitable.
Ugh, dude, you gotta clean up your room, it's a complete mess.
I am Groot.
I am not boring, you're boring. What's boring is me.
Many would call it an honor to be cast as one of the best Marvel villains in the universe, but after Hugo Weaving had played Red Skull in Captain America: The First Avenger, he decided that all the preparations to transform into the role were just not worth it. The actor publicly stated how much he hated the intense makeup it took to turn him into the character of Red Skull, and how he wouldn't play the role of the Hydra leader again, so fans were pretty surprised to see the character make a cameo in Infinity War. However, Weaving didn't reprise his role for this appearance, as Red Skull was actually played by Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead in this case. Marquand is very well known for his amazing impersonations of Hollywood actors, and Marvel decided that if they can't get Weaver to play the part again, they would simply get the next best thing. So they hired Marquand to recreate Weaving's portrayal of Red Skull, and he did such a good job that at first, many fans didn't even notice that they had recast the role. Tony Stark's father Howard has appeared and been mentioned several times in the MCU, and most people think that he has always been portrayed by John Slattery, as he played the role in Iron Man 2 and onwards, before being killed off in Civil War by the Winter Soldier. However, Gerard Sanders is actually credited for the role in the first Iron Man movie. Even though Sanders never actually acted the role in the film, he was the one modeling for photographs showing Tony's father in the first movie. Unfortunately for Sanders, Marvel felt like he didn't offer what they were looking for when it actually came to breathing life into the character, so they let him go before the sequel and replaced him with John Slattery instead. You probably forgot that Edward Norton was ever part of the MCU, but he actually starred in the second ever movie Marvel made. Norton played Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk before being replaced by Mark Ruffalo due to the different visions Marvel and Norton had for the character. Norton was also unwilling to commit to the franchise for years to come, but was fired anyways as he kept having creative differences with the writers, director, and the producers on the set. Luckily, it didn't really hurt his career, as he went on to star in many other successful films, including Birdman, which earned him his second Academy Award nomination as Best Supporting Actor in 2015. Marvel Studios has been mostly praised for their casting choices when it comes to their heroes, but some of the villains have left fans slightly disappointed. One such example is their choice of James Spader to play Ultron in the second Avengers movie. There is no doubt that Spader is a great actor, and he also put his own spin on the role, but his overall portrayal just didn't convince fans. In the comics, Ultron is a decidedly villainous robot that was created by Hank Pym, but went rogue after becoming sentient. He is really powerful and devious, which is why he is one of the best villains, because he actually makes you wonder if the heroes will manage to defeat him. In the movies, his origin story is slightly changed, which makes sense with how the story is progressing in the MCU, but where Ultron disappointed was in the way he was portrayed. He may have been evil, but there was never any real doubt that the heroes were going to win in the end. And then it wasn't even the main hero who defeated him, as the Cap was busy beating up a duplicate, so Scarlet Witch was the one who defeated him. And since Ultron received such a mixed reception, it isn't really surprising that Spader hasn't appeared in the MCU again. Pretty much everyone agrees that the second Iron Man was a letdown after the first movie, and most of the positive reception can be attributed to Robert Downey Jr. and the storyline involving him and the new Rhodey, while it seems like much of the negative reception is connected with the new villain. Introducing Whiplash at that point in time was without question a good decision, because he presents a perfect challenge, especially for a younger Iron Man, without being an overpowered villain, and his backstory wasn't too bad either. However, casting Mickey Rourke in the role was definitely a bad move. Though Rourke is no doubt a good actor, his approach to the role was a little too serious and too method, while Marvel's approach to the character and his motives was a little too simplified, which led to problems on set. And to top it all off, Rourke then went on to publicly trash the movie and Marvel Studios, complaining that they had cut the whole thing and saying that if they wanted to make mindless comic book movies, then he didn't want to be part of it. Needless to say, Marvel felt the same way and made short work of firing Rourke. 2008's Iron Man was the beginning of the Marvel craze, and Terrence Howard appeared in the film as James Rhodes, but things soon turned sour between him and Marvel Studios. Howard made a good impression on fans and was supposed to reprise his role for the sequel, but problems behind the scenes led to Marvel firing Howard and hiring Don Cheadle as War Machine instead. Howard insisted that he had been promised $3.5 million with an additional $5 million if the sequel was greenlit, but in order to get Robert Downey Jr. on board for the first movie, Howard took a pay cut. Demanding more money for the sequel, Howard instead was asked to take another pay cut for the sequel, and when he refused to do so, Marvel decided to part ways with the actor. According to Howard, he had helped Robert Downey Jr. to become Iron Man, but was left disappointed when Downey Jr. took the money that Howard was supposed to get for the sequel and instead helped push him out of the franchise. The two actors eventually reconciled in 2016, but it is unlikely that Terrence Howard will make up with Marvel Studios anytime soon.
Fortunately for me, I have a very good manager. She had been tracking it for the last 4 or 5 years. And so I was actually offered the role of Rhodey before they even had picked who Tony Stark would be.
Thank you for checking this video out, and don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe for new videos every day. Turn that bell notification on and comment down below that you subscribed, and we'll make sure to reply and thank as many of you as we possibly can. Once again, thank you for watching and see you next time.